What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We do a lot of live streams on this channel, and a lot of the good information and good analysis that we put onto the internet can kind of get lost in those hour-long live streams. So in today's video, we're going to kind of jump through some of that market analysis we put into those live streams and then kind of take a look at the market, see what's happened. That way, for those of you that don't have time to watch those live streams, or those of you that may be interested but don't know enough about the live streams, these should give you a good idea as far as what's presented in the live streams and the things that we talk about. And from there, you can see if there is enough value in it for yourself to want to tune in to them. So let's go ahead, kind of jump through this. I hope this video turns out okay. First time kind of doing it in this order. So we're going to hit play on some of the live streams, look at the analysis, then we're going to jump into the charts in real time and see how it's all kind of progressing. So I'm going to go ahead and click play here.
Sell target. Market goes counter long. The next sell target, which is here, cannot be achieved until what? Till support breaks down. So now we're on counter long support. Next sell target is achievable or is more likely to be taking place in real time when support breaks down. Now, the counter long that we're currently seeing has room as far as here before it can then create a lower high and go down. Granted, the market...
All right, so that was a live stream that was just done yesterday. This is some analysis on the Bitcoin market. Essentially, we're mapping off the two most likely areas that we want to see Bitcoin go to. One of which is the crying face on the downside. That would be a next sell target, while the smiley face on the upside would be the current counter trend long target. All right, so now we're going to go jump into the Bitcoin chart now, see what's happening, and kind of talk about the levels and where we're currently at, so on and so forth. All right, so here we are into the Bitcoin chart. So as we had mentioned in yesterday's live stream, there is really two targets that we are most interested in seeing the Bitcoin markets trade to next. One of which is a sell target of 110,756. The second of which would be a counter long target, which would be first back up into prices of T1, T2, which is 114,300 or so right now, to 114,600. And then there's another target up here, which is the T3. That's currently priced at 115,500. Only achievable once we get a break of T2 areas. So as you can see, we actually shied the sell target by a little bit. We hit a low of 111,128. The sell target being 110,756. So missed by a little bit there. Okay, and now we're running the markets up to go get that T1, T2 price point, it would appear. And if things turn out even better, maybe the T3. Now you can also see I've written here, expected resistance as long target T1, T2 completes. Whether resistance is bigger or smaller, resistance is just expected. Now that's because we are coming into the long target of T1, T2. Generally, when you meet a long target, resistance happens. Kind of like how when the market sold down almost to the sell target here, it then got bought up. So again, when long targets are met, a lot of times we'll have resistance. So again, that was from yesterday's live stream, mapping off the sell targets and current long targets of the Bitcoin market. Fast forward one day, we've nearly achieved both of those targets. So if that's something that you may find value in, then arguably tuning into the live streams may be of interest for you going forward. So we're going to hop through some more of the live streams, pick apart some of the other cool stuff we have done in the live streams, and then go from there. So stay tuned. All right, so I think we found the next decent thing to kind of present here, which is a part of yesterday's stream. As the markets were selling down, we were kind of going through some of the smaller time frame support levels that could be kind of on the horizon. So In this kind of screenshot here, you can see we have SPY 30-minute VWAP support over under, aka breakdown target of XPX 30-minute over under. Now in this snippet, you're not seeing the SPX 30-minute over under. This is on the SPY, but in a nutshell, we are talking about, hey, this is basically a breakdown target in the moment, and then as the markets come into here, that's where you start to kind of look for support areas to build. Sometimes the supports work really well, sometimes not the best. This is an example where it works okay. So what I'm going to do is fast forward the part of this video and stream to the next part, which is kind of where we start to bounce the support. All right, so this is that same live stream, just fast forward a little bit, and essentially this is kind of the fast forward view. And as you can see, market trades down into the 30-minute VWAP support over under. It actually breaks it down by just a little bit, but then you can kind of see as the market comes right up through that price, you get the bounce. So that's also a very common thing you will see with support levels is a quick break below, fake out, back above, and run. So what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and click play, because not only do you see this 30-minute support work, now we're going to kind of work into a micro pullback target and kind of set that up in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and we're just going to kind of walk through this here for a minute or so.
And because again, we're coming out of support, why would you not be long at identified support, obviously? So but now we'll look for the markets to maybe create a higher low off this low that we can trade into. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to anchor this low, and we're going to do something like this. And actually what I should do is I should hide. No, that's fine. That's good. So yeah, we're just basically bouncing the market up now after hitting that sell target I talked about, and now we're just looking for longs up and then any sort of dip to scalp long back into for the moment. So pretty much any higher low in the market built over this is fine. So essentially we are long because 30-minute VWAP support over under, aka breakdown target of SPX 30-minute over under, blah, 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 blah support, right? So now it's bouncing up. Now we are cool with any higher low. Okay. And also, well, yeah, so pretty much that's that. This is a bounce off the low, and once it runs out of momentum, which generally they eventually do, then you're going to be looking for higher lows. And when I say higher lows, it's not that you're looking for a higher low to be the be-all, end-all. You just know that as far as chart formations and patterning goes, if this was going to keep going in that direction, then obviously, A, it has to keep going that way, but also it's going to have to do what? It has to be higher low, higher high. So if we wanted to go higher, we have to hold a higher low. If the people that wanted to go lower, then they have to keep it from holding a higher low. So we basically have a pullback target on the SPY right now down to pretty much where I'm looking at, which is, again, as low as 66539 to 66527. So
all right, so that's kind of walking us through how we can look for a sell target on the downside on a 30-minute time frame, then use the 30-minute sort of trend to bounce the market, and then flip back to a 1-minute market, and then use 1-minute markets to identify current pullback levels within that market. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of just fast forward this video so we can kind of see how this develops. So at this point in the stream, you can see the market has pulled back down into that yellow box, which essentially is just that short-term pullback destination target that we've identified. So I'm going to go ahead and click play from here.
So right now, our micro sell target or micro pullback target is complete. So if you were selling this move down to that target, you would close your short out. If you close your short out, what are you going to help do? You're going to help add buying pressure. Anyways, so I don't want to get too much in the weeds because that's what I always do. I end up rambling and talking so far into whatever. But anyways, that target's done. So our sell target for this move is complete. Now we're kind of back to scalp long. And with our scalp long, this one's kind of like but just the way that it's set up, I don't care for, but our targets for the scalp long would be pretty much here. This box, the start of that box and the high of that box. That's as much as we'd look for on the scalp long off that last low. So
all right, so kind of just emphasizing that pullback target, you would cover if you're doing kind of a short-term scalp there, and then if you want to do kind of some short-term trading, you might be scalping long. So really cool little snippet of yesterday's stream where, again, we use a 30-minute to identify a target down, then use that same sell target to then bounce the market, and then basically transition back to a micro market, and then use the micro market to essentially plan and project short-term pullback targets within that. So very cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead, hit pause, transition us to some more stuff, and keep going. So if you guys like this, make sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and if you think you'd find value in sort of this information being presented in real time, then just, hop onto the channel and tune in around 9 a.m. Eastern time every day. So going to go ahead, pause, and transition us to something else cool. So this is actually pretty good. So this is from yesterday's stream again. This is kind of talking through a 30-minute chart breakdown that then transitions to the hourly, so on and so forth. Gonna hit play, and we'll go from there.
Breakdown to the 1 hour move is complete, and our retrace the 1 minute sell trend hasn't quite happened. So yeah, this is your 30-minute breakdown. All right, so that's 30-minute breakdown, and then this here is your 1 hour target of 30-minute breakdown and 1 hour uptrend over under. So now what we're teaching you is like the strategy of how markets move in between simple moving averages. So essentially, we just broke down the 30-minute, trading the market down to the 1 hour. Now the 1 hour is getting its opportunity to support its uptrend. All right, so now we're doing a 1 hour long bounce trade. First objective is to go to these VWAPs right here. If not higher, but first objective, those VWAPs. Because that's the volume weighted average price of the 30-minute breakdown. Ready? If we look at where the 30-minute broke down here and the back test here, you can see where am I anchored there, and then this move down. So of this 30-minute breakdown, sell target 1 hour, 1 hour support bounce back to 1 minute volume trend of last breakdown. Long is complete there. The long scalpable 1 hour bounce is complete into that level, that target is complete. Okay? And now we'll see if the market is strong enough to basically hold a lower high here. If the 1 minute market holds a lower high, then this would be a sell move with a lot of strength.
All right, so real cool there. That's yesterday's stream. As the market was selling down, it had broken a 30-minute trend support. When the 30-minute breaks down, we look to take the market down to the 1 hour, at which point you start to test the 1 hour's uptrend, and many times the uptrend's going to try to hold support before breaking down. So anyways, in this case, we had a 30-minute breakdown trade to the 1 hour counter long trade back to 1 minute volume weighted average prices of the previous breakdown. That's a lot to take in. I would never expect any beginner trader to ever know anything I just said. But again, if these are things that you think will help you, and that you would also like to learn, again, we are live 9 a.m. Eastern time so that you can go through this in real time and not necessarily watch a video about it later. So hopefully that was cool. Hopefully some of that makes sense. I'm going to wrap this video up with one more analysis, and that's about today's live stream. So we're going to go into today's live stream, take a look at the analysis of the day, and then take a look at what actually happened today in the market. So stay tuned. All right, so this is the start of today's YouTube stream. So what we're looking at, again, is a recording of today's YouTube stream. And so this is before the market opened. So this is still in the pre-market session. Nothing's really going on too crazy yet. And you can see I have mapped off an arrow at a yellow line. It says markets above here is bullish. We will flip bearish if back below. So the reason that that text is on the screen is because the systems that we use for, analyzing and moving markets a lot of times is a simple moving average. So today, the simple moving average that dictates positive market environments or negative market environments was priced at, what was that, like 663.95, right where the arrow's pointing. So again, when the market is above, then you have the opportunity for positive momentum up. If it's below, you enter a neutral to bearish stock market, okay? So that's why we've identified that and put that on today's stream so that when you come in, you can know if we're above this level, things are okay. If we start to go below this level, is not okay. Is not okay. So we're going to go ahead, continue kind of moving through the stream to get to the good stuff and then kind of narrate it just like we're doing. So stay tuned. All right, so we've added a little bit of text to the screen, more than there was. So now you can see it's pull back over under. Let's explain that a little bit. An over under is a level that if over, bullish, if under, bearish. So generally speaking, most support levels or resistance levels are always an over under, because obviously if the price goes into resistance and hits its head and has resistance and stays below, then it's down. And if it doesn't have resistance and goes above, then it's up. So we call them over unders. So right now the pullback over under is 663.95. Why is that? That's because if the market was to stay positive and it was to trend higher and it can't go below that price or else it's bearish, then we know two things. If it's going to be bullish, it has to just keep going. If it's going to end up being bearish, that means it's going to sell down to that level and then go further. But if it's going to pull back, hold support, and then stay bullish, then that would be the pullback target. So generally speaking, the level that determines being bullish is the same one that determines being bearish, and then it can also be used as a pullback level. So like we have here, pullback over under. This morning, we saw that the volatility index was shaping up in a way that told us to not be so aggressive long, even though it's above the level, right? So essentially, we ended up saying, hey, we should be looking to pull the markets back to here, so on and so forth, and we're going to get into that here in just a second.
Flip back to bullish is also the pullback target in the event we don't just take off into a long, right? So if the market doesn't just take off into long, which sounds kind of dumb when I say it, I guess, but it's, again, if the market doesn't just randomly take off into a long, which means go up, then generally it's going to go down. And if it were to go down, then it would most likely go down to the levels that dictate whether or not it's bullish or bearish. So essentially that yellow line, 663.95, give or take, is our pullback target idea going into the open and pretty much the remainder of the early morning. And
all right, so there you can see in the stream we talk about, hey, if the market doesn't just shoot straight up, then we're going to go down, and we're going to go down to this price, because this price can still determine whether or not it's going to flip fully bearish or if we're going to maybe hold support. So now what we're going to do is kind of fast forward things and keep going through this progression. So stay tuned.
And so we'll obviously probably look to see the market come down initially. And if it can hold, then we'll stay macro swing up. And if it does not hold, then we will flip and probably look at some sort of bearish movement today. Now,
all right, so again, just kind of further emphasizing above is okay, but below is not okay. All right, but we got to pull back to that level to at least give the market the opportunity to start that decision game, whether it's like, do we want to go into a full-blown breakdown, or do maybe we just want to pull back, then hold a support? Again, don't quite know that yet. So that's why we said the early morning target is just down to here. Then we will see, does the market hold or does it not? Because again, you can't know everything. Sometimes you got to let the market progress and kind of let you know what it wants to do. So in the morning, going into the open, again, 663.95 seemed like a very logical pullback target, because that's a level that we can pull back to, but the bulls might still hold support, and if they don't, flips bearish, etc. So I'm going to go ahead, fast forward. We'll be back just a second. This is pretty good. So again, this is Bitcoin. So again, we in this video already talked about yesterday's stream and the price targets about Bitcoin. So this is today, where we're still talking about Bitcoin, and you can kind of see I'm doing that cool little, I don't know, price analysis with the box showing profit target, whatever. So again, you can see in this video here, we're drawing out that box talking about that $114,000 price for Bitcoin. Again, that's that counter target, which, by the way, if I bring over Bitcoin right now, we've traded up to a price of 114,000. We haven't quite gotten the 114,370. We'll see. Does it come? We'll see. Think it will, but anyways. So that's pretty cool that you can see we've almost achieved the T1 long target, and that's the same exact thing we were doing 2 days ago on the stream, same thing we're doing today on the stream, still talking about that 14,000, no wavering from that target. So anyways, that being said, pretty cool stuff there. Going to fast forward to the next thing. Again, just fast forwarding through that stream, showing you some of the progression of yesterday's market into the open, essentially pulling back down towards that 66395, a little lower, towards those pullback over-unders. All right, going to go ahead and hit play. We're going to listen to a little bit more of this video. This is kind of one of those important moments in the stream, so I'm going to go ahead, hit play, and just shut up myself.
Market is starting to bounce a little bit there. Again, I personally think it's going to be temporary. I think the market will end up breaking it down. We'll find out shortly, right? So we are correct on the pullback targets, right? But again, I don't think anyone buying this 50 SMA or buying this potential hold level, I don't think it's going to work personally. I think it's going to break down. But again, at the end of the day, my opinion is my opinion, right? So yeah, just trying to emphasize the main reasons why.
So again, that's talking about coming into the pullback target, knowing that it could be used as a support, but also bias and gut saying it's not going to work this time around. We're probably going to break it down. And remember that the arrows that are pointing to the market above can stay bullish, but if we flip it, we enter a bearish market, a bearish selling program, right? And that's, in fact, what happens today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this quite a bit so we can end up just getting to the breakdown of today's market. All right, here we are. Market is broken down. This is also another very cool snippet because this shows how we went from being bearish in the pre-market to said pullback target, then also identifying the exact level that if obviously below, the market would flip even more bearish. What's cool about this is we're going to show you the counter retrace micro target and how we kind of come up with that. So in this video, that yellow line, that's the 50 SMA kind of break point. So we're starting to anchor volume weighted average prices that to kind of know where the counter retrace can be. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. We'll watch this and then we'll probably wrap this video up, but stay tuned.
And now we will have this new saying, which is going to be the market as far as momentum is concerned. Momentum, right? So momentum stays bearish below these VWAPs. So now what we're doing is we're saying, okay, the market has broken down here, so we're bearish or neutral. The volume weighted average price of the breakdown is identified by these VWAPs, right? So we're taking the volume weighted average price of the breakdown and we're creating a bearish volume trend down. So essentially, this would be counter pop retrace expected levels, and then also as long as market's below that, it stays bearish. So my assumption based off of things that I'm looking at, and I guess you could say my opinions, is that market is now in macro bearish to macro neutral. We're not really bullish. Anything discussed bullish is simply counter pops in a downtrend. But I do think that currently we have potential for the markets to push back into this green zone, and then you would look to still be bearish, into that area. So yeah, anything popping back into here still has the potential to be downsided. Mind you, Remember.
All right, so that just goes on to emphasize the breakdown and also showing those micro counter trend targets based off of previous breakdown, using volume weighted average price to identify that, so on and so forth. So we're going to go ahead, fast forward just probably one more time. Here's a quick snippet of market popping up into the start of that green box. So again, that's that micro counter trend target back to volume weighted average prices created in the chart just a couple minutes back from the breakdown level. Granted, you would never know how to do what I'm showing you in this stream unless, number one, you used Anchor View apps. Number two, you know where the 30-minute breakdown is and then when it broke down. And then number three, watching it repeat enough times to know that it's probably going to happen. So anyways, that's that. Let's go ahead, click play real quick, see what comes up.
Here as identified.
Or maybe we'll just kind of fast forward it. Okay, that's probably it. So anyways, you can see here, see in this chart, how as soon as you get up to that green box, you kind of see that wick. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this video. I'll probably continue to do more videos like this because there's so much good stuff that we put out in our live streams each day that, again, you just never see it. Unless you were sitting in live with us the whole entire way. But at least this way you can learn a little bit about what's going on throughout those hour-long live streams, and then also see if some of this meets your eye and you'd like to learn more about it, and then you can tune into the live streams, if you will. So again, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning if you guys want to join in, and or every other day or every day or whatever. So cheers, thanks, and catch you on the next one.